Alright, so I'm not very good at this, but I'm going to give this a shot. I think this is the best format for me too, because I got to get out of the house, and I tend to do better thinking when I'm walking instead of just sitting there by myself and thinking. So here I am. I'm allowed to do this, by the way, too. I think in Maryland you're allowed to go for walks for exercise. So here I am holding this camera with my hand. So that's exercise, isn't it? Anyway, so this is, as you can tell by the title of this video, a Jesus changed my life. Is that what it is? What's the hashtag? Jesus changed my life. Yeah, so this is a Jesus changed my life video, as you might have seen from other places on the internet. But this is, I think, just a way I wanted to voice and put my story out there that in the midst of all this kind of what's going on here, this hardship that I think everybody's kind of going through, which is interesting to say because there's not very many universal things that will bring us together other than a worldwide pandemic that you got to be isolated by the government from. So I think to say that it's universally hard on everyone is I think a cool thing to say. Not a cool thing obviously as in like, oh cool, we get to have like hard stuff happen to us, but like it's cool that we're all experiencing this the same way. Obviously some more than others. I mean, I haven't lost my job yet due to this whole thing, and I know there's a lot of people who they lost their jobs, and now how long is it going to be until we can get another one? How long is this thing going to be isolating us from each other? So yeah, it's hard on everyone, obviously harder on some other people, but at the same time it's unifying for everyone. But enough of that. I think a good place to start with this is to explain how Jesus hasn't changed my life, perhaps is the way to put it. Maybe that's wrong, but an important thing is to know what grace is. And if you're not aware of it already, it is unmerited favor. And basically it says that I am sinful. We're all sinful, and we have this need to deal with our sinfulness because it puts us at odds with God. And the thing with grace is that it is the goodness, the love, the kindness that God has given to us is completely unmerited to us. It is not anything that we have ever done. He gives it freely, and it's a gift. And so I think with that being said, that I always even as I accepted Christ into my life, I believed that I still had to do something. I still had to earn favor. I still had to work my way up to being a good person. And honestly, that for a long time has put me through a lot of strife. I've gone to bed anxious, and I've gone to bed depressed because I haven't measured up, even with this grace that I've been given in my life, this unmerited favor. Like, that was like the shove to me that I needed to be a good person. And honestly, that hasn't been the case, because He gives it unmerited. And to say that I could do something to that kind of shows that it would be merited. And so that's something that I've learned, is that everything that He's given to me has been all because He loves me, and not because I deserve for Him to love me. And that means that I don't get fortune. I can't just love Him. I can't just do something and all of a sudden He gives me something back, like He's a genie. And so I really want to avoid in all this saying that He has changed my life. He has given me all sorts of things that I've wanted in my life. Because honestly, there's been a lot of hardship, I think, that's come. I expected my life, when I accepted Christ in my life, to be a lot easier. And frankly, it's, I think, just gotten a lot harder. And so I just wanted to share 3 things that have changed in my life since then. One is assurance. I would go to bed, I'd wake up, with the mental health problems that I have, just depressed and anxious, and I have ADHD, so I'd be distracted on top of that, and I'm unable to focus on the things I want to focus on. And And that would be really hard. And to know and to understand that it is by grace that I am saved, that it is by grace that I am loved. That is assurance that I can look to every morning and know that it's not going to change, because God doesn't change. He doesn't love me any more today than he did yesterday, as he will tomorrow. He isn't going to withhold anything good from me. And he knows what is good for me, and he knows what is best for me. And to know that somebody who is all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-loving, and all these superlatives loves me and is going to do everything for me to keep him in that love is quite the assurance that I rest on, and I try to look to and remember when things aren't going so great. And it helps. And it's not only helps, it saves. So that's number one. Number two is family. When I was first saved, I accepted Christ into my life, I think a lot because I had seen what he had done in other people, and what he had done in other people for me. And maybe that was a little selfish at the time, but at the time I was really lonely, and I felt rejected by a lot of friends, and I felt unwanted by a lot of people. Gone through a few relationships that left me feeling unwanted. And yet here's this community that loved me and accepted me with open arms, without even knowing me a whole lot. They invited me to things, and they talked with me about stuff, about deep things, about things that were really kind of concerning me. And I never really encountered that before. And maybe you have, if you're not a Christian, maybe you have experienced that before from other people. And that's not to say that Christians are better people than non-Christians. I think that would be wrong to say too. But the fact is that through people who I think would openly admit that they are not perfect and that they are in need and that they are sinful, to see that they would love me just shows the grace that God has for me to use unlikely people to show his love for me. And I think that's just amazing. So he's given me family, number two. And the third thing is hope. And it goes with the first thing that I said. First thing being assurance that he's not going to change, that he's going to love me, and he's going to be my father, my true father, throughout everything. But knowing that there is something bigger than today. There's something bigger than this moment that I'm getting anxious about, that I'm worried about. That this video that I've taken 20 tries, I feel like, to just get the right take on. There's hope for an eternity. There's hope that whatever is going on today, no matter how hard, is meaningless in comparison to the eternal glory that is with a relationship with Christ in heaven. And that is something that I think, on top of understanding his love, has really pulled me through a lot of things, knowing that as I am his child, and as I obey him, and as I am given the ability to obey him because of his grace, and even when I fail at that, he still has secured a hope for me for tomorrow and for eternity. And that is how Jesus changed my life. So as we kind of go through this whole pandemic together, I just wanted to invite you to join with our church as we tune in individually on our computers, on our TVs, to watch our Easter service at Sovereign Grace Church in White Marsh and Abingdon. I'll put a link in the description to where you can go to watch that, or where you can go to find where you can watch that at least. And invite you to see, if you haven't already, who Jesus is, to see who and how Jesus has changed other people's lives, not just mine. Because with him there is fullness of joy. At his right hand are pleasures forevermore. He says that a thief comes to steal and to destroy, but he came that we might have life and have it abundantly. And he says to people to come, you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So if this pandemic is getting to you as it is with me, and is hard, and you're just kind of at your weary and heavy laden point, know that Jesus says to come to him and he will give you rest. And that's a promise, because he is God and he doesn't change, and his promises are as sure as they are done. So if this is something that interests you, you can check the link in the description, and you can get in touch with me if you like. Put a comment down below, or I don't know, there are their DMs on YouTube or anywhere this is. We'd love to have you tune in to our service on Sunday for Easter. All right. Thanks for listening to the end of this video. I have no idea how long it's going to be, but here we are.